Hello, and welcome to today's video about treating spinal stenosis with acupuncture. I'm Jennifer Briggs, licensed acupuncturist here in Coos Bay, and we today will explore how acupuncture, which has been proven to be more effective than physical therapy or medication alone, can offer significant relief for those dealing with spinal stenosis. So, here I'm getting ahead of myself here. So one very interesting thing is that stenosis can be a form of arthritis. So stenosis in itself just means narrowing. And when something gets narrow, it reduces the amount of space that there is for the tissues or structures that should pass through that opening. You can see it really easily in with blood vessels. So one of the things that happens in a heart attack is that the blood vessels that feed the heart, the space inside the blood vessel gets more and more narrow. It has plaque all the way around it, and eventually cuts off. The stenosis becomes complete, and it completely cuts off the blood flow to the heart. So it's a little more difficult to imagine that with the spinal column, because the spinal column is comprised of vertebrae sitting on top of each other, and each vertebra has a hole in it that that allows space for the spinal column to sit. And the vertebrae, the bones around it, protects the spinal cord from injury. So in this picture that I have up right now, on the left, is a picture of the vertebrae, and we're looking at the vertebrae from the top. So if you're standing on top of somebody's head, looking down the spinal column, this is something like what you would see. So the space that's called round canal is where the spinal cord goes. So this one on the left has lots of room, and assuming that the vertebrae were stacked right on top of each other, and all the vertebrae had this nice round canal, there's a lot of room for the spinal cord to go down all the way without getting squished or impinged in some way. So on the left, or on the right, you can see there's a red arrow pointing to stenotic canal. So this picture looks a little different because it's actually an image of a vertebra. And again, from that same view from the top down, as though you're peering down the spinal column. So in this picture, the spinal column actually is that dark kind of trapezoidal space in the center, just above where the end of the arrow is. And it looks dark on this image because the spinal column is in there. So it's not an empty space like the picture on the left is. This actually has the spinal column right inside of it. The spinal cord itself, which has all the nerves that move your body around. So in the right-hand picture, you can see where there's extra bone growth, where that red arrow is pointing. It's pointing to extra bone growth inside the vertebrae. So that extra bone growth is actually pushing on it's narrowing the space of the spinal column, or it's narrowing the space that's available for the spinal cord, and it's squishing the spinal cord right there. So that causes a lot of unpleasant symptoms, like it can cause it puts pressure on the spinal cord and nerves and causes numbness, tingling, pain in the local area. And it can affect any part of the spine, but most commonly occurs in the lower back. Now, there are other there are other things that cause that spinal canal to narrow. But one of them is osteoarthritis, which is, in the theme for this month, the arthritis theme. So they can also be called bone spurs. Bone spurs means that the vertebrae itself has changed shape in some way, and the resulting change in shape is putting pressure on the nerves. It can also be, spinal stenosis can also be caused by herniated discs, ligaments that have been thickened over time and are pressing into that canal. It could be caused by tumors, or spinal injuries can also cause a stenosis. Sometimes the vertebrae might get out of place with each other, and that because the two openings are not lined up with each other anymore, then the spinal column is squished. So there are things other than arthritis that can cause it. But what is important is that conventional treatment for spinal stenosis really is a little limited to anti-inflammatory medications, pain relievers, and sometimes injections. They'll try to inject cortisone to take down swelling from a herniated disc or something like that. These can provide relief, but they may not actually address all the problems that are happening. So acupuncture has been shown to actually be really effective, more effective in treating spinal stenosis. There was a large study that was done where they compared acupuncture with medication and exercise. Acupuncture was found to significantly improve both symptom severity and the physical function score. So that means that people felt better and they were able to do more. Acupuncture doesn't have to stand by itself. It works in conjunction with other therapeutic approaches such as physical therapy, chiropractic treatment, and non-opioid pain medication. I really love it when people take physical therapy or chiropractic or both in addition to acupuncture. I find that people are able to find lasting solutions to their pain most effectively when they do a combination of things. Probably most important is that acupuncture provides an alternative to long-term opioid use. Opioids, when they are taken long-term, can alter the nervous system's sensitivity to pain, which means that over time, it takes less and less stimulation to cause the same amount of pain. So something that ordinarily would not be terribly painful to someone who has been using opioids for many years, they would feel that as more painful than somebody who didn't take opioids. So acupuncture is a great solution to pain that does not involve opioid use. So if you are dealing with spinal stenosis or know somebody who is, exploring acupuncture as part of your treatment plan could offer significant relief. The holistic nature of acupuncture, which has been proven to be more effective than physical therapy or medication alone, makes it a really promising option. It's important to remember that you have choices in managing your health, and acupuncture might be the key to a more comfortable and fulfilling life. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have questions, find us online at briggshealth.com. Take care and be well.